Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Today, I am talking with my dear friend, Vanessa Emerson. She is the founder of The Evolving Expert. She is recognized as a business strategist, a wellness educator, MC, and influencer. And Vanessa Emerson, FDSI, mentors professionals in every area of business as a business strategist. Vanessa's annual conferences attract professionals who gather to learn, network, and support each other in growing their skill sets, mindsets, and shaping their industries. And she is honored to be serving as the NSA Arizona board member, one of the board members in 24 and 25. She's frequently booked by organizations who would like to encourage their members to explore and expand their roles as speakers and consultants. Welcome, Vanessa. It's great to have you back.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, Chuck.
Yes. And the first time we talked, if you guys haven't listened to Vanessa's podcast on life vision and lifetime goals, the big why, all that good stuff, that probably came out 2 or 3 months ago, so take a look. Today, we're going to talk about the 2-page strategic plan, or just the idea of having a strategic plan. And I'll warm this up, Vanessa, if you don't mind, just by, I think people will want to know, well, as soon as they heard that, they might be thinking something that we're not. Because when you hear planning and strategic planning, people think of a business plan. And I'll just say out of the gate, I am not a fan of business plans. I do not believe in business plans. I think they're voodoo, fortune telling, and a waste of time. So what's the difference between a business plan and a strategic plan? Well, a business plan is something you put together in January, which is already a month late. You should do it in December. And then you try and actually follow it for a whole year, as if you knew what you were doing in January, and as if the world doesn't actually get involved in changing your plan. A strategic plan is rolling. It's dynamic. You look at it regularly, sometimes every week. And if you decide that what you put together in December, not January, isn't right, then you change it on the spot and you go somewhere else. And so you're responding, and you're assuming that the world is going to influence and impact your plan. I believe it was Mike Tyson or one of those guys, heavyweights, who said, everybody has a plan until they get hit, punched in the mouth. And we're so smart as to put together a business plan in December that we could actually run for 12 months. So it's rolling, it's dynamic. We pull it into 12-month, 3-month, 1 month, and 1 week bites. So that's how we do it. And I know you read my book on this stuff, so you can share, yeah, here's what I learned from it. But then I love that you have evolved it, because I think that's really what this stuff is about. We're all snowflakes. Some of us are flakes too, but we're all snowflakes. We're individuals, we're unique. And so the way you do this is going to be different than mine. So you can start with my 2-page strategic plan, and you can end up with whatever Vanessa's doing, or vice versa. So take it away. When you first read this in my first book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, had you done something like this before? What was your blinding flash of the obvious as you read this?
For me, the blinding flash of the obvious was that it's a way to take all those little Post-it notes. All those, like, I need to do the newsletter, I need to do this. This is my little part of, all around the desk, and the notes scribbled on the back of things, and to coordinate. And I lovingly call it like a glorified to-do list, because for me, it helps me keep track of all the things, right? The more successful we become in business, often the more there is to do, and the more there is to keep track of, and then keep track of team and all of that. So while we do have software applications that are task management oriented, and in fact, I have taken mine in that direction, but for quite some time, I used Excel or Word.
Sure.
Before I evolved it into and it really is a living document.
Yes, I think that's the biggest.
Mine every day.
Yeah, and that's the important piece of this. Is it, if you're not looking at it every week or every 2 weeks, but every day is even better. Yeah. Then it's one of those things, we call them shelf help documents, because they're like shelf help books. They sit in your shelf, and they help your shelf look good.
Yes.
And why waste your time? And that's what business plans are too often. We write them in December and then we don't look at them for a year because they really weren't something that we expected to transform our lives. And this is something that should actually take us one piece at a time and transform. Now, excuse me. Now we do it a little bit differently now. Over the years, it was like two railroad tracks. We found all these to-dos, and it was all just to-dos to begin with. But then we realized that there were some to-dos that were more strategic and had to do with actual real change in our business that would be forever change. And then there's the overwhelming majority of the others that won't change our business, but still have to be done. So now we separate those two. And we have our 2-page strategic plan now is nothing but the things that will change our business permanently. It doesn't have to be big stuff. For instance, if I have a 12-step process and I think I need to add a 13th step, well, that goes on the strategic plan because that will forever change my business.
Yes.
One small thing at a time. But if somebody goes to another, if they leave and we have to hire somebody, that does not go on my strategic plan. That goes on the to-do list because I'm just getting back where I started. It doesn't change my business forever. So we've learned that over there. So I love the way this stuff evolves and we just play with it. So you're moving in the direction of a piece of software. How is it helping you? You look at it every day.
I really love what you just said. I want to just for just a second capture that because what's important to me about that is and I hear your voice in my head, the tyranny of the urgent versus the priority of the important. So you have all those things that are the important, which could go to some like there's so many different task management platforms out there where we could have that, right? But to have your actual strategic plan that is this is where I'm driving this bus or boat. So that I can get to those lifetime goals. I mean, that's where the connection is for me.
Yeah.
Right. These are the big pieces that I'm needing to focus on. So I don't really remember now what your question was how's it working to go to the software? Is that what you're asking?
Well, no, just how is it working for you to look at this stuff every day? Or just to have a rolling and dynamic plan instead of a static one?
There are things that I know if I do it every day, I'll be better. Like if I brush my teeth. If I take my vitamins, if I exercise, there's some other business strategies that I try to do every day, like exercise would be something around like reaching out to people in my community, which is like my 250 closest like clients and all that. Like there's those kind of strategies. And so this would fall in the everyday, like what have I done today to grow my business? We start with I think it was you in your book too, that like you ask yourself that in the morning and at the night, what did I do today? What am I going to do?
What's my big why today? How am I going to live that out? And then how did I live that out? Just simple stuff.
When I have that on a document beside my computer, and it's the first thing you see before you go to emails when you come in. I mean, that's the key. It's no different than wanting to remember to exercise every day. We have to come up with a strategy. For that. So when I have it sitting beside me, I love what you're saying. And that's the piece I've missed as I've gone to the online but I love what you're saying. I'm going to break out and my task oriented will be in Asana or one of those. And then my really important changing direction will affect us forever will be what's on the paper form. That's actually right here, right here.
Yeah, we eventually split them between 2 tabs on the same Excel spreadsheet, but I think Asana and a number of those kinds of things are really powerful for taking care of all of those things that are absolutely essential, but they won't really change my life over the years. So you take the few things, the 6 or 8 or 10 things you want to do this year, and the one big thing you want to do this year, put that on your strategic plan, and then that becomes the priority, the important, it becomes the thing you emphasize because it's not, we found that when we put it all together, it just got jumbled and we lost the important things while we were doing the urgent things.
Right. And I can see where you'd need both, right? Because you have that project management software because you've got a team and everybody needs to be on the same page. And so while you still have it in your Excel file, these are what's most important. You're probably still going to have some tasks involved over there, but it helps you as the visionary, as the person driving the bus.
Well, it also helps me if I'm doing those to-dos in Asana. I get to ask myself, I go back over to the strategic plan and look at the few things I want to get done this year and say, is that helping me get that done? Yeah. Or am I just playing office? Am I just doing things that make me busy? So yeah, it's really helpful to have those clarifiers. But I want to speak to this quickly. You first started talking about things you do every day. And I think some people would look at that and say, well, that's not strategic.
Oh yeah, it is.
Brush your teeth or meditate or ask yourself that's not strategic, because strategic things are big, giant, audacious things that we do that take us 4 years. And we're going to buy a building or start a new business or change the world. A good strategic plan, the way you have a good strategic plan, is that it impacts what you do today, and you actually can look at it. I look at it weekly. I'm thinking maybe I should do what you're doing. I think I do look at it in my head daily, but it impacts every week and every day of my life. I'm doing things today because I want to get this done 12 months from now. And if your business plan does not give you that kind of daily and weekly feedback, it is not helping you. So I love that you started there, because I'm sure people were starting as they were driving and running and listening to this. Oh, that's not strategic. That is so strategic.
Oh, it's so strategic. Yeah. And too, for me, like, I'm a creative, like a lot of your listeners probably are too. And we see shiny objects. It's like, oh, I want to create that workshop, or, oh, I want to add another meeting, or, oh, I want to whatever. And so it really helps that when you first come in, and that's why I think it is so helpful to have it printed and sitting here. I also kind of hack that, and I put my life vision, my strategic goals on the back. And then it's just a Word document or Excel document, so you can keep printing it every week or and mark it up. But it helps before you even jump into your email, for you to be able to sit down and go, okay, it's like your huddle. It's like with yourself. It's your morning huddle with yourself. Like, okay, here's where we're going. Here's what I need to accomplish today. Or maybe I need to make some shuffling around here. If something's happened between Monday and Wednesday, something happened on Tuesday, and now things are different, then you can, but it's still the same idea of having the plan.
Yeah.
And seeing it every day.
Yeah. And so I'll give a quick example of how it works when we split those things. We just talk about the strategic. I like using chair making because very few people do it, but most people would understand it. If I want to make 12 chairs and sell 12 chairs in a year, just to keep it simple, then I put that on my 12-month piece of this strategic plan. And then I ask myself, well, what do I need to do in the next 3 months? Well, I need to make and sell 3 chairs. And if that's true, then what do I need to do in the next month? Well, I need to make and sell 1 chair. And if that's true, then what do I need to do this week? Well, I need to order these parts and glue this piece together. And what do I need today? Well, I need to call somebody to see if they want to buy my chair. And you can see how it gets incredibly tactical if you have a really good strategic plan. And then you can follow those things back up. If I make this call today and I glue this piece today, then I can sell 1 chair this month, then I can sell 3 this quarter, and then I can actually get to my goal.
And the thing is, it's not rocket science.
No, it is not.
It's just having the discipline and having the strategy really in mind, that this is how we're going to get there, is we're going to break it down. We're going to get really granular. And this is how we make sure we get there, and celebrate the wins when we look back and see, like, oh, yay, we won. We got our month. We created our chair.
But Vanessa, I'm too busy building chairs to do this stuff. I mean, don't you get that? Are you? That's a good question. But I think that was my reasoning for so long, was I'm too busy doing the day-to-day stuff to waste time on this strategic nonsense. And I didn't see the connection. I didn't see why I should write down these things and try and connect them. So did you ever struggle with that, or were you always good at putting those things together? So tell me about that journey.
Outside eyes on the business are so helpful. Like, in your eyes early on in my business journey were very helpful as well, of just reminding us, there's only so much I can do in a day. And what I'm obviously in my mind jumping to is like, well, maybe it's time to hire somebody to help me create the chairs, right? If there's that much time, because I think I mean, there's all these different approaches to leadership, and as a business owner, everyone's going to have their own feel for that. So I'm going to say leader, and you can define like how you want to look at leadership as anyone who's listening to this. But as the leader of the organization, I think it is our responsibility to make sure that we take the time, because as we will, if we're going to grow, we're going to have to at some point start having helpers of some nature. And then we really, I feel, have an obligation to keep things healthy, so that because they're committing, they're on board, they're loyal, they're helping you meet your goals. So I think it's one of those things. It's, but often solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or people who are they don't have the whole organization.
Right.
Often I think it's easy to let that slide.
Yes.
They don't feel like they have the.
Yeah, I can do this in my head. It takes me too much time to write it down. There's no reason to. I only have 2 other people, and they're busy too. And yeah, I agree. Yeah, and the tyranny of the urgent sucks the life out of us. But if we had time today, I could tell you, I'll give you one example, because there's hundreds of people I know like this. A realtor 14 years ago read my book, and it was her and a part-time staff person, and she was working like all realtors do, evenings and weekends, killing herself. And she read this book and she developed a strategic plan, and she followed her strategic plan, and it was rolling dynamic. It was a live document, just like you said. And a year later, when April came around and you're supposed to be working your butt off and working evenings and weekends again, she was no longer doing that. She was making twice as much money and working half as many hours. And so this stuff is, we all look at it and say, well, it doesn't apply to me because I'm not a giant organization. I say just the opposite. It couldn't be more important, because you don't have a giant, because we're going to get sucked along by it. We're like a little dinghy with all these giant boats around us that are making these huge wakes. We got to know where we're going, because we will get swamped if we don't.
We can't scale without it.
No.
I mean, really, period. You can't.
No.
Without it.
Yeah. Well, and the other analogy I use for this, and both finding the big why, which is the other one that you did with me, the other podcast, it's the idea of when we don't know where we're going, every road will do. But imagine planning a vacation and not deciding where you're going, but just going ahead and planning the vacation. What do you put in the car? Well, you throw some skis in there, and you throw a snowboard, but you throw some bathing suits in there, and what are you going to pack? And then when you get in the car, where do you drive? I don't know. I'm going to drive around. It's exactly how we run our businesses.
Some people will do that too. Some people will,
most
for a vacation because they feel like, oh, that would be fun. We're just going to go.
Well, that's different. That's an adventure. Yeah.
Right. That's why I was just going to point out that's different.
Good for you. Yeah.
If we're just going to be just like playing with it and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That's plain office. I think
that's not a thing you should do with your entire life. I
don't have that luxury.
Yeah. Unless you're a trust fund baby.
Like I've inherited a lot of money, but I wanted to actually pay the rent, that kind of thing.
Well, and even if it's not about money, if I want to make a meaningful impact and have a life of significance, I need to figure out what that means, and then I need to run toward it. So no matter how you do it, I need to know where I'm going. So
for sure.
And a strategic plan will help you get there. Well, again, we've just teased people. And you've got some ways of helping them with strategic plans. You also help people with vision, and you do a wonderful job helping people with self-development as business owners. And I'm a huge proponent of that, because most of the business that we see out in our business actually came from inside our heads. So we need to fix our heads first. So how can people get a hold of you to get more of Vanessa?
Sure. Well, the evolvingexpert.com is our main website. Right. We do work in a wide range of areas, but self-development and self-care is a piece of that, as well as the business strategy. And the way to reach me via email is info@vanessaemerson.com. I'm happy to.
And then click across to Vanessa's conferences. I go to at least one a year. They're life-changing experiences, and every business owner should be involved in what you're doing. So appreciate you so much.
Thank you. It's great to spend time with you always.
Yep. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.